My name is Sam Vacnin, and I'm the author of Malignant Self-Love, Narcissism Revisited. All told, there are three ways to manipulate the narcissist. You can withhold narcissistic supply from him until he comes, hat in hand, begging for more. And then you can name your price and dictate the terms. A second technique is to constitute yourself as a reliable source of high-grade supply and thereby foster in the narcissist dependence and adherence to your minutest needs and wishes. You will be amazed how attentive the narcissist can be to a good source of narcissistic supply. And then there's the third technique, to take active part in buttressing and upholding the narcissist's grandiose fantasies, to collude in a shared psychosis with him, and thus render him amenable to your wishes and priorities, as long as they seamlessly conform to his delusional narrative. Right. The irony is that narcissists who consider themselves worldly, discerning, knowledgeable, shrewd, cunning, erudite, and astute, well, these exact narcissists are actually more gullible than the average person. This is because narcissists are fake. Their self is false. Their life is a confabulation. Their reality test is long gone. Narcissists live in a fantasy land, all their own, in which they are the center of the universe. They are admired, feared, held in awe, and respected for their omnipotence and omniscience. In short, narcissists are prone to magical thinking. They hold themselves immune to the consequences of their actions or inaction. Therefore, they consider themselves to be beyond punishment and the laws of man. Narcissists are easily persuaded to assume unreasonable risks and to expect miracles to happen. They often find themselves on the receiving end of investment scams, for example. Again, because they are risk-prone, reckless. Narcissists feel entitled to everything, money, power, honors, even though these are incommensurate with their accomplishments or toil. The world, God, the nation, society, or their families, co-workers, employers, even neighbors, owe them a trouble-free, exalted, luxurious existence. They are rudely shocked when they are penalized for their misconduct, or when their fantasies remain just that, fantasies. The narcissist believes that he is destined to greatness, or at least the easy life. He wakes up every morning fully ready for a fortuitous stroke of luck. That explains the narcissist's reckless behaviors and his lazed lack of self-discipline. It also explains why the narcissist is so easily duped. By playing on the narcissist's grandiosity and paranoia, it is possible to deceive and manipulate the narcissist effortlessly. Just offer the narcissist narcissistic supply, admiration, affirmation, adulation, and he is all yours. Harp on the narcissist's insecurities and on his persecutory delusions, and he is likely to trust only you and cling only to you for dear life. Both paranoia and grandiosity impair the narcissist's reality test and engender cognitive deficits. Paranoia and grandiosity lead to the erection of complex and wasteful defenses against usually non-existent threats and enemies. Narcissists attract abuse. They are haughty, exploitative, demanding, insensitive, and quarrelsome. Narcissists tend to draw opprobrium and provoke anger and even hatred. Sorely lacking in interpersonal skills, devoid of empathy, and steeped in irksome, grandiose fantasies, narcissists invariably fail to mitigate the irritation and revolt that they induce in others. Successful narcissists are frequently targeted by stalkers and erotomaniacs, usually mentally ill people, who develop a fixation of a sexual or emotional nature on the narcissist. When inevitably rebuffed by the narcissist, these people become vindictive and in rare cases even violent. Less prominent narcissists, less successful ones, end up sharing life with codependents and with inverted narcissists. The narcissist situation is exacerbated by the fact that often the narcissist himself is an abuser. Like the boy who cried wolf, people do not believe that the perpetrator of egregious deeds can himself fall prey to maltreatment. People tend to ignore and discard the narcissist's cries for help. They disbelieve his protestations. They assume that he is guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around. So how does a narcissist react when he finds himself on the receiving end of abuse? Well, like all other victims, he is traumatized. He goes through the phases of denial, helplessness, rage, depression, and finally acceptance. But the narcissist's reactions are amplified by his shattered sense of omnipotence. Abuse breeds humiliation, and humiliation breeds helplessness. And to the narcissist, helplessness is a novel experience. Hitherto, he considered himself all-powerful, godlike. Abuse reminds him that he is all too human, and sometimes less than human. The narcissistic defense mechanisms and their behavioral manifestations, diffuse rage, idealization and devaluation, exploitation. These defense mechanisms are useless when confronted with a determined, vindictive, or delusional stalker. That the narcissist is flattered by the attention that he receives from the abuser or the stalker renders him even more vulnerable to the former's manipulation. Nor can the narcissist come to terms with his need for help. He cannot acknowledge that wrongful behavior on his part may have contributed and precipitated somehow the situation. The narcissist's self-image as infallible, mighty, all-knowing, this self-image as him being far superior to others, this exact self-image won't let him admit any shortfalls, any mistakes, any needs, even need for advice or for help. Narcissists consider themselves self-contained, self-sufficient. As the abuse progresses, the narcissist feels increasingly cornered. His conflicting emotional needs to preserve the integrity of his grandiose false self, even as he seeks much needed support. Well, these conflicting needs place an unbearable strain on the precarious balance of his immature and disorganized personality. Decompensation is the disintegration of the narcissist's defense mechanism. It leads to acting out, temper tantrums, outbursts, loss of control. And if the abuse is protracted, it leads to withdrawal, and even in extreme cases, to psychotic micro-episodes. Abusive acts in themselves are rarely dangerous. Not so the reactions to abuse. Above all, the overwhelming sense of violation and humiliation. So narcissists are actually classic victims of abuse in many cases. Yet, it does not provoke in them self-awareness, let alone remorse or empathy, of which they are largely incapable. It is wasted on them. Yes, even abuse is wasted on the narcissist.